We're friends who like sports, and like video games, and like streams. So we figured we'd bring them all together.
And here we are. And Connor, this week, it's huge. Oh, I can't wait. I know we have things to talk about, but it's football week. It's finally here.
Football, 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 football.
Football.
Yeah.
And I'm excited, and you're excited, and Giannis Antetokounmpo is not excited.
Yeah, Giannis will be icing his ankle. He'll be watching football from the ice tub tonight, apparently, as that man has a sore ankle.
As a Magic fan, how did you feel about that? That all of a sudden, Giannis, he's donezo, and he crushed. I talk about crushed the Magic. And now they're like, he got crushed.
There's always what you hear, and then there's always the stuff behind the scenes. Call me the conspiracy theorist, but he wasn't playing all the minutes against the Magic, and they didn't need him to play all the minutes against the Magic. But then, as time progressed and the series wore on, and good old Chris Middleton had a spotlight shined brighter and brighter on him, and Giannis's ankle could keep getting sorer and sorer. I mean, we saw what kind of team the Bucks were. Unfortunately, I know Giannis is saying he wants to stay in Milwaukee, but hey, he could very well bolt soon. There could be a real possibility he heads to Golden State. Who knows? Maybe you heard this here first. I'm just saying.
That could happen. I know we're going to get into that during the second half. I like to I think you make a good point. I don't know if you saw Richard Jefferson. He's a reporter for ESPN. He made a tweet this week. And he basically said after, it wasn't last night's game, but the 2 games ago, that Giannis is Scottie Pippen and he needs his Michael Jordan. And I will tell you that that's all that Greeny talked about on Get Up for the beginning of that show. But essentially, all he was saying is that Giannis needs his buddy, right? Like, we need a buddy system. So.
Buddy. Oh, man, that is a throwback to the movie Heavyweights.
That's a good movie.
Buddy.
You know what?
Heavyweights.
Yeah.
Have you seen those videos about heavyweights and heavy wings?
I just believe that boneless wings are wrong. I didn't know how wrong they were until this week.
Boneless wings are, they're tasty. They're delicious. That's what I'm going to say about that. And some of the videos that we got to watch, I feel like that is more valuable political discourse. The smelly things. How do you feel about Odell Beckham?
Oh, man. I woke up this week, and all I got was, check your Twitter. And it was all Odell Beckham. And I don't think we need to go any further in, because I'm sure that train has been steamed over and over and over again. But
yeah, he is a Brown. And he is trying to be a Brown.
Odell Beckham, he does. But Odell Beckham plays football, and we're here for football.
Football, yeah. Tell me how excited you are, Rutledge, in Vignette.
I am. So this feels like we're kind of getting over the hump of what 2020 was. I mean, think about all the bad things of 2020, like the time you wasted watching Tiger King, and COVID-19 and the Australian fires and just everything that happened this year and people losing their jobs. And now we can all, on the weekends, sit down with your favorite snacks and your favorite team, and then it's the feeling, the return, that when that team wins, it's that little extra boost of like, hey, we won. The most depressing thing is going back to work on Monday when your team loses, but it's like, hey, we won. You feel like you're on cloud 9. And I think that'll get us through for the rest of the year. I can't wait. I feel good about it. I feel good about this year.
True that. Yeah, I feel like football returning tonight. We're kicking off football for our fan and listener out there with the playing of the Chiefs versus the Texans. But, I feel like it's a real resurrection of the soul tonight, Rutledge. It really is. I don't mean to overstate this. There's resurrecting souls out there tonight.
There definitely is.
2020 has taken a lot from us. Marnie the dog. Any positive thoughts about Dennis Rodman? Murder hornets. We never even knew them.
Chadwick Boseman. Chadwick Boseman.
For real though. Now we get to take. We get to take. We're on the take side, and we couldn't be more excited about football. In fact, here's how crazy I'm feeling. Hot take tonight. I had this take literally in the shower this morning, and before you start freaking out, it's okay. This is safe for the little ears. I think that there's going to be 3 NFC playoff teams come from the NFC West.
Wow, that's a take.
That's my first take of the night here. I think that everybody except the Cardinals, and I'm going to get into talking about some more of these teams here later. Everybody except the Cardinals is going to make the playoffs from the NFC West.
And the Cardinals are no joke.
Cardinals are no joke. They can play some football. They got some tackling football players.
All right, well, let's kick this game off because actual oh my gosh, whatever this game is, Chiefs-Texans is getting ready to kick off in 12 minutes here. Speaking of kickoffs, we kicked off our picks, right? I'm 1-0 in college football. I lost the under because I didn't realize that Navy had not gone live at all. But BYU brought the over. They brought it all day, every day.
BYU, and they did it in an unconventional way, and that's by running the ball up the middle.
Yep. And then throwing the deep ball.
And some deep ball, but they definitely some old school utilize the run to set up the pass.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not know either that Navy did not go live before coronavirus. I might have taken the over if that was the case. But definitely, was wrong there. And, as we said last week, that the Nuggets-Clippers series was still going to be going, and it's still going. Are you still confident that the Clippers are going to win in 6?
I am not. I think the Clippers are going to win in 5.
Nice. I see another win for the Nuggets. I see at least 6 still for the Nuggets. I don't think the Clippers are good enough to go in 5. But regardless, you ready to kick off?
Let's kick off. Let's bring 2020 season to life right now.
Boom.
Here we go.
And Ronan stood up for that.
I love that. And you kick it out of bounds. That is to me, that is the most deflating part of football. You think about a football game, you get with your friends, you get ready, you tailgate, or you have a couple drinks, you're hyped to go, and then what's the very first play? The kicker kicks it out the back of the end zone. It's the most anticlimactic result.
Everyone's standing.
Yeah. And then everyone's like, and there goes the ball. All right, so I'm going to bring this random use of the Chiefs to my abilities. Jigga!
Oh, nice juke.
Thanks. Feeling good about the jukes. Okay, so as we get through in the first half, football season is back. Connor, I want to talk about something. Then you brought up the NFC, and I want us to do a segment tonight where we go through the NFC and the AFC, and we have to pick and talk about who do we trust is going to be good this year, who do we think is going to be a bust, and then who is a must. Like, who must you watch as the football year goes on? So,
we'll kick us off, Rutledge.
Okay, so my first is my trust for the NFC. And my trust for the NFC actually comes out of down south, and it's not Tampa. My trust for the NFC is the New Orleans Saints. So I think that Sean Payton and Drew Brees must have Patrick Mahomes has just got to run for it. Julie to spin move. Okay, but they sat together, and I think they have a plan. We all know that Drew Brees is kind of getting near the end. But like Peyton Manning had a spark up at the very end. They made some great moves in the offseason to get themselves a new center, a new tight end in the draft. They pilled up a lot of good people. And they have that's wild.
Is that a safety?
No, but look at you. That's a wild catch, dude. So as that goes, they've got a lot of things. Alvin Kamara is close to finishing up that contract. Michael Thomas is emerging as a premier receiver in the league. They have some dangerous pieces on defense, including Cameron Jordan. So I think that the Saints are I trust for them to go even 13-3, because they've been 13-3 the past 2 years. So I don't see them faltering. They just keep getting better. It's going to be a shame to not have the Who Dat Nation filling up the Superdome, because I know that's a big home field advantage that a lot of players are talking about. But I really trust them. Who do you trust out of the NFC?
Ooh, good pick. You know, call me the Hard Knocks homer over here. I trust that the LA Rams are a playoff team. And just to keep with this NFC West theme here, LA Rams going to make the playoffs. I really liked, I think Sean McVay, good coach. I think that, he's got some, definitely there were some opportunities for growth last season with them not making the playoffs. Oh, fumble. What a nice start for turnovers here.
Man, we are just on this side of the field.
We are on. These fans are getting it in their face. No, I think, Sean McVay, good coach. I think, the thing that's critical this year with no OTAs and no preseason game and very limited training camp is you got to have good continuity, and you got to have good continuity at the quarterback and the coach position, especially at the beginning of the season. And it takes a lot to overcome that lack of continuity, and I think the Rams have it. Not only that, but they did add Cam Akers, and apparently Van Jefferson has been having a good camp. So they added a receiver, they have another running back. They need to run the ball well. I think the Rams are going to do well, and I think that it's going to start with a defeat of the Dallas Cowboys in Week 1.
Wow, taking the Cowboys down, and you think they'll do all this without Todd Gurley?
Oh, absolutely. I think Gurley. The thing about it, you always got to remember. Running backs have just that certain amount of time. And Todd Gurley's number has been called, so he'll be somewhat productive for Atlanta, I think, but he won't have the season that he had a couple years ago where he won me a fantasy football league.
I think he was also on my fantasy football league a couple years ago, and he did a lot of good for me too. But I will tell you, you put the nail on the head, is that Todd Gurley's days are done, and even though everyone's happy to see that darn good dog come home, the Falcons are my bust out of the NFC.
You only trust Southern teams when it comes to college football on Saturdays. I hear you.
Exactly. I think Atlanta. Here's the thing about Atlanta, which is like a riddle me this, and it's not just the 25-3 Super Bowl with the loss and the comeback of the Patriots. Although that's one of those moments that's just Atlanta sports history, if you've ever followed Atlanta sports as a town. But the real thing that comes together of it is, look at Atlanta as a franchise. You have Calvin Ridley, you have Julio Jones, you have Matt Ryan, who's a decent quarterback. You've now had Todd Gurley, but Devontae Freeman was a good running back. They always have the offensive pieces and can never really get the points on the board. Sure, Julio Jones will win you your fantasy championship because he gets the yards and the touchdowns, but the rest of the pieces is never sort of put together. Falcons also shed a lot of their defensive people and made a lot of different moves that are just not... I think they've got a lot of youth in their group. They didn't really bring in any big signings besides Todd Gurley. This is not unnormal for Atlanta before. Maybe 10 years ago, I think it was, they signed Steven Jackson. Remember when Steven Jackson was at the at the St. Louis Rams and was bringing the big heat? And they're known to sort of go out and pick up this older running back, thinking that it's going to sort of do numbers for them. I don't see Atlanta taking that and being sort of the team to run with that. I think they'll sort of fall apart. What do you think about Atlanta?
It's a tough division, man.
Yeah.
Tough division for sure. So, no, I think, never trust Atlanta unless it's SEC game.
Yeah.
So, I hear you. For me, my bust, yet again, I know I talked about it last week. My bust is the Packers. Aaron Rodgers getting older. Aaron Rodgers, not the player he once was. He's still pretty good. He will still be a top half quarterback in the league. But the Packers go as Aaron Rodgers goes, and he's not the guy he once was. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But not only that, they just didn't give him any help. And you got to remember, with COVID, with no or few fans, that they lose that home field advantage. So there's not going to be really that Lambeau advantage outside of cold weather, which both teams will have to deal with. So you got that. You got other good rosters in the NFC North, and I think by bust, Packers won't be playing for a top pick next year, but I think that they will be not making the playoffs because the Minnesota Vikings will win the division.
That's a pretty good take, and I can see that. I think even the Vikings, even with the loss of, we'll get into the Vikings roster a little bit later, but I agree with you on that. I think that I could see the Packers hunting for a wild card, but then it's not going to make much of a difference because they're going to be on the road, and like you said, the only reason you have Lambeau is for the weather. Mm-hmm. My favorite Lambeau quote was Richard Sherman when the Seahawks went there, and they said, "How was it?" And he said, "It's great until my contacts froze."
Beautiful. There's a great Golden Corral in near Lambeau. They've got some great bars there, but I would suggest going to the Golden Corral.
Okay, I'll make sure next time I'm up there, after I check out historic Lambeau Field, to hit up the Golden Corral. And I told him Connor sent me.
Oh, please do.
You and DeAndre Hopkins are best friends today.
Good old Nuke Hopkins, man.
He is just saying that.
Beautiful. Well, so let's work through our must here. Who are the must-see teams?
My must, and this is going to feel like me being the homer that I am, but my must is the Seattle Seahawks for the NFC. I think that they've made the right moves in their roster. They went to improve their line. They made some defensive adjustments. I know I'm sad to see Shaquem Griffin got his practice team spot, so he's not gone because I think Shaquille would be really upset to see his brother leave. But I think that they're making some right moves to build some roster teams. I know that they added some wide receivers this year. I know DK Metcalf, who was just awesome last year, is going to have a way bigger year. Plus, I think that San Francisco made some bad adjustments. So I think the schedule's in their favor for them to really be a contender to make a playoff run. So I think they're a must-watch. I know that it's tough to watch those Seahawks games because of that time difference, but I think they have good scheduling. Looking at their schedule, there's nothing too crazy on travel. The first two games are New England and Atlanta, but the farthest they have to go travel-wise is Atlanta and Miami, and then after that, they don't really have to do that monster travel schedule, so they'll be good. I'm feeling really good about the 12s this year.
Nice. Me, the Bucks, that's my must team. They'll be interesting. They'll be in the news. You got Gronk, you got Shady McCoy, you got Leonard Fournette, you got Mike Evans, you got Chris Godwin, you got people that are going to be seeing if that defense can hold up. You've got a lot of good storylines, and there you go, Will Fuller.
Oh, nice.
You got a lot of good storylines, and I think the Bucks they're going to be an interesting watch. That's for sure.
I saw a really good stat today about the Bucks is that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have the same receivers with a quarterback that just won't be throwing as many interceptions, and two of their receivers had 1,000-yard seasons last year.
That's what I'm talking about.
I think that's pretty. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Amen. Well, before we jump to the AFC, we must give, in our pre-show prep, we talked about an honorable mention for terribleness, and the Washington football team gets our honorable mention for terribleness. Any comments on that, or just
we salute how terrible you are, Washington football team, and this is where, clearly this one is, Dan Snyder didn't change the name of the Washington Redskins to the Washington football team because he wanted to. It's because of the political climate this year. Everyone said, "Oh, hey, we're not going to pay you money." He went, "Oh no, I'll change it," and that's like getting threatened that your lunch money is going to get taken away. So I think that also, and I know that there's licensing and rights, and they had everything set up to have the colors red and yellow, but I just think if you were going to make that cut away from that, let's wear different colors than red and yellow and not just put a W. But I think on top of that, as well as you got rid of Adrian Peterson, even if he is over the hill, you need whatever help you can get. I think Ron Rivera's in for a mess. So they're my honorable mention of terribleness. What about you, Connor? What are your thoughts on them?
Oh yeah, I mean the best part about the Redskins is that they have 2 years of merchandise sales to go through between front office mess, quarterback, had a good 2 game stretch last year. Unfortunately, didn't have a great stretch for the other 14 games. Good old Patty Mahomes there, slicing and dicing my Swiss cheese defense.
Boom.
But I think that I think that the Redskins are going to be pretty awful in a pretty terrible division, which is saying something. It's not like you're a bad team in a good division. They're going to be a bad team in a bad division.
They really are.
So
overall bad. All right, so on to the AFC. Who are you trusting in the AFC?
My number one trust team is the Baltimore Ravens. They're so different, and I know that coaches have a year of film on them now, and players have a year of film on this new system that they unveiled last year. But I think that the Baltimore Ravens are going to be really good. I think that Lamar Jackson is going to take another step forward, and I think that they're going to be a force to be reckoned with, and I think that they're going to, I would not be surprised to see them in the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that they're going to be in the Super Bowl, but they're going to be one of those teams at the end that's still sticking around. I think because of their scheme, because of their coach, because of their front office, and because of their quarterback.
Okay. I can see that. My trust for the AFC is the Kansas City Chiefs. They had it like Scrooge McDuck, Uncle Money Pennybanks from Monopoly. The Monopoly man's just money for everybody this offseason. They've pretty much retained mostly the same team. Patrick Mahomes still runs around and plays football like he's 8 years old. So they're just doing, they're just doing all the right things, and they're just in all the right places and all the right spaces. So I feel really excited about them. Their division, of course, no offense to your Raiders, but the only thing really going on in that division besides the Kansas City Chiefs is that they're going to have to start traveling to Vegas and making sure no one gets coronavirus when going to Vegas this year.
No one gets the Vegas flu.
No one gets the Vegas flu. What happens here stays in Vegas, except for coronavirus. That goes back with you.
Yeah, Vegas can't do that anymore.
No. So I really trust the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they're going to be huge. Tonight against the Texans, the Kansas City Chiefs are a 9.5-point favorite. That's like a college line. And these are professional. And, Deshaun Watson just signed a mega contract. So it's not like they're playing nobody. So they've kept all the right people in places. I think Andy Reid's going to get used to his free cheeseburgers with that ring that he's flaunting, and it's on.
Amen.
He's just going to show up to practice and go, "Daddy's hungry, feed me." And then it's just going.
Feed me the rock. So,
yep.
Sweet. Well, what about bust? What are your thoughts on the bust?
My bust is I have the Bengals. Now, that might feel like an easy bust, but I think no preseason, new environment. AJ Green was hurt and he was out. Joe Burrow's new. I really think that they're just not good. They could go 0. They could not win. They were so bad last year, and Andy Dalton's not a horrible quarterback. Sure, he's not your dream come true. He didn't win a national championship, but I think that LSU team was so stacked. I think this team is not. I think Joe Burrow's, the speed of how fast the NFL is will really get to him. And that takes not just from me. That's from a guy who was checking me out at a Staples wearing like a Bengals mask, and he gave me that take. And it just stuck with me. And he didn't even have faith, and he was a Houday. So that's my bust. What about you? Who's busting in your eyes?
The biggest bust in the AFC, in my opinion, it's going to be the Patriots. I know they got Cam. I know they got Belichick. But look, 8 players opted out. They lost Brady. There are so many things that the Patriots don't have going for them. You can call whatever you want. Reboot, bust. I could see the Patriots finishing 3rd in their division, which for a team who's won their division for the past 20 years, that's a bust.
So who finishes 2nd?
Who finishes 2nd in that division?
Yeah.
I could very well see I could see the Jets maybe.
Okay.
I know that. I mean, that's just how I think that's how bad the Pats could be. I could see it being a big time competition for second or third place in the division.
There you go.
So,
Okay.
With that, all right. So who's your must?
The Bills.
Speaking of the AFC East, who's your must?
Straight up the Buffalo Bills. That's why I had to ask who your second place was, because I needed to know. Because the Buffalo Bills, get the tables, boys. This is the year for the Bills Mafia. Call Pizza Pete. Get him to make extra pies in his little filing cabinet and tailgate. Like, this year is going to be... Buffalo's held on for so long, and this is not going to be like the 90s where they just lost 4 in a row. I think they have great defensive line. I think Stephon Diggs added there is huge. Madden gave Josh Allen a 97 throw power rating in the preseason, which, Madden's usually... Now, this is for Madden 21, which, as we discussed last week, is horrible. But Madden's usually not that far off in everything they do. But I have a feeling that the Bills... I'm with you. The Patriots are not going to be that great. I don't see Super Cam and getting along very well with Belichick and how Belichick likes to play ball. And overall, I really think it's going to be... That's who it's going to be. What about you? Who is your must?
My must in the AFC, we got the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans, I think, being able to continue to run the ball, do that well. I think Derrick Henry still got some gas left in him. I think that the addition of Jadeveon Clowney in that division, I don't love that division. I think that there's a lot of opportunity there for the Titans to make another big run into the playoffs. Mike Vrabel could end up being like the only Bill Belichick disciple to do well, and I think that I could see the Titans definitely making the playoffs again this year. So that'd be my must.
So you think Clowney's going to help them tighten up there in Nashville?
Yes, I do.
Get you a goo candy and some barbecue. It's going to be wild.
And as a former offensive lineman, I mean, we must watch. There you go.
Nice touchdown pass. Nice touchdown pass.
Bells with the feels. We must watch running the ball. Former offensive lineman here. So I'm always down for some good run game action. By the way, do you see that balance? The Houston Texans of circa Madden 2020 Friendstream Sports Edition, who just missed the PAT.
I feel like that is the classic Madden 2020 Friendstream Sports Edition, is watching the one PAT miss at a time.
Yes. Well, as we round out this half here, Rutledge, who's our honorable mention of terribleness?
For the AFC?
Yeah.
The Houston Texans. This Houston Texans team, thumbed between Connor's beautiful hairy thumbs, is not going to be the Houston Texans teams we see. Yes, Deshaun Watson's a great quarterback, or else he wouldn't have got... Okay, he's a good quarterback. But really what they're doing and the way they're sort of trending, I don't see it. They got rid of DeAndre Hopkins, and who won't? Bill O'Brien, what are you doing? No. I don't have any words for it, Connor. I'm just that much against it. I don't think it's going to be good for him.
And to bring us to the half, Rutledge, couldn't agree more. As we talked about in our pre-show, Bill O'Brien would trade his own children for a washing machine.
He would. All right, so we're going to
do a little halftime hot take here.
Yeah, we're going to get the kick underway, and then we're going to pause
for our little kick action. Sounds
hot
good.
take. Can we pause right here? Nope. I'm trying to pause, and the game won't let me pause. I heard in Madden 21 you can't even pause ever. It's just broken.
You know what? After this, we'll pause for our halftime hot take and maybe some station identification.
There we go. All right, and here we go. Pausing now. Hey, we did it. Okay, so halftime hot take. This topic's halftime hot take is, what is your hot take on the only one thing to talk about on the kickoff of the NFL season, and that is the Super Bowl, the World Championship, only America plays, the game of all games, the King of Kings, the Master of all masters. What is your hot take on the Super Bowl this year?
Well, first off, other leagues aren't allowed into the Super Bowl is just due to the dominance of the NFL. This isn't a Champions League type situation here. We can't match up the American League versus like the Belgian League. I knew a guy who played in the pro leagues in Belgium, and all the stories you hear about folks smoking on the sidelines during halftime. Not against smoking if you want to, but maybe not the best idea if you're a professional athlete. So, I would say my Super Bowl picks. I'm going to go Ravens Saints. Love the Ravens. Think they can make it happen. I think that they're going to have a good enough system and be able to run their way into the Super Bowl against the Saints. I want to see Drew Brees finish out on top, get his second Super Bowl. Who dat? I'm not just saying Ravens versus Saints in the Super Bowl. I'm saying the Saints are going to finally get over that hump, and Drew Brees is going to have 2 Super Bowls.
Oh man, he going big trust. That's what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Call Mark Ingram. He's saying big trust. I am not too far off, but far enough away from you, and I am going Chiefs Saints. I think that, and the one key thing is in quarterback play. I think Patrick Mahomes likes to scramble around and run around like a little kid because he's just that talented of a quarterback. He can run around, play playground football with grown men in Arrowhead Stadium because it's just casual to him, and that's just the way he approaches the game. I don't think Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are that much of a casual approach. I think that the Chiefs have an easier path to the Super Bowl, but I still think the Saints win it. I think Drew Brees comes out on top. I think Michael Thomas, makes a big statement. I also think that the Saints defense will be what kind of like takes care of the Chiefs offense and sort of puts them into some check. The Saints defense is going to have a big tune-up coming through with already having a game plan for the whatever Falcons you're going to get. Even the Panthers have Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback, who's not a joke, who started for 2 NFL teams. And then, of course, you have the Bucs. So the Bucs roster is pretty similar to the Chiefs roster. I think they'll plug in a good game plan. I think Drew Brees will take it, and he, like his hairline, will recede off into the sunset as a 2-time Super Bowl champion.
Great take. Love that take.
Boom. Well, it's ready for second half. Are you ready?
I'm ready for that second half, homie.
It's just more football.
More football.
Are you excited for football?
I mean, it's a resurrection of the soul.
Right?
What can you say? But, so... I want to hear this, right? Because football for the fan, so much more. I played football, right? So it was fun to have my stories of gridiron craziness. But there's a lot more than that. A lot of the memories that come around with that. So, what were any fun tailgate stories? Just any fun football stories growing up for you, Rutledge?
The tailgate for me. I love the tailgate actually. There's just something about, especially if you get there early, the sun's kind of coming up, you get out a lawn chair, you crack a cold one too early, but you do it anyways. You light the grill, you eat something, you have some snacks. Like, it's just the whole... I've had the tailgate experience. The one part of the football game that makes me sad is when someone says the phrase, all right, let's clean up, we have to go. Because it's time for you to go and see pregame and see everything. And I've been to more college games than I have NFL games. That was a weird catch. So that whole, you have to be there for the pageantry and the bands and the ceremonies. And at Georgia Southern, we'd have an eagle fly through the stadium, and just all the different things that you do that sort of gets you as a fan ready to see that game. You play lawn, you play the yard games. If you're at a tailgate with some money, you watch College Game Day. You just do the whole experience. And I will say that NFL games, my first NFL game I went to as an adult was in 2012. I went and hung out at a Falcons game with my friend, and we just brought some chairs, and we brought a cooler, and we're like, it's Sunday. It should be kind of chill. Hard pass, no. I've not seen more people that have spent time just like DJ booths and just money spent on grills and cookers, and it's a big deal. My favorite tailgate moment, though, was when I was a kid. My dad brought a grill, and we were grilling outside of CenturyLink Field. except where we had parked, you had to grill on the other side of a fence. So my dad had bought all these different sausages and burgers, and he's grilling. And right next to the fence was the Amtrak station for the local train that dropped off people to go to the games. And we had like 75 people walk by carrying what looked like heavy backpacks and just offering us like $20 a piece for a sausage. And it was the funniest thing. We laughed about it forever.
Nice.
And that's just
that's super cool, man.
the camaraderie of the parking lot.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? I'd say, I don't have as many tailgate stories as you do, because I played in those games as opposed to watched those games. Although I didn't play much in college, so my tailgating was like Snickers bars and Gatorades that I made for myself for halftime, which I guess wouldn't be tailgate. But I would always park myself at like one side of the field where all the other players weren't, so I could actually watch what was going on in the game. But I would say, tailgating wise, probably my favorite tailgate story wasn't American football, but it was the beautiful game. There was a great tailgating. My favorite tailgating story was not totally similar to your story, but my wife Betsy and I, we went to an Orlando City soccer game when they still played at the Citrus Bowl, which, rest in peace, Orlando City playing at the Citrus Bowl, by the way.
It was a beautiful time.
It was the closest thing Orlando had to football, American football, and the tailgating experience. Now it's a little European feeling, right, with all the whatnots going on, out before the game, but you don't get that tailgate, which is super fun. Anyhow, I almost used your sack to you right there. That's okay. Lockdown defense. It was raining, so Betsy and I knew we were going to have some rain, but we wanted to get down there early. I always love being at stuff early. And what we ended up doing is walking around with a 12-pack of beer and a Trader Joe's bag, and we would literally go try to barter food with beer. So we called it our mobile tailgate. We ran into some folks we knew. Everyone was super friendly, super nice. We just had a good time. So I would say that was probably one of my favorite tailgating stories.
I like that.
In terms of being at the game. And other fun stories really just involve around, those big college game days, those big NFL game days where it's noon and you finish working out and you're in the shower and you go, I'm going to sit on my couch. I've worked out. I've been productive. I'm going to sit on this couch until my eyes fall out from watching too much college football. And those are always good days too. And maybe I might not have one of those days, but I've got a lot of those days under my belt. And those are a ton of fun. So
those are always good days. When I know that I'm going to park it and it's like, let's sit and just the TV's on and don't turn it off till it stops.
Oh, yeah. What's your favorite football food? At tailgate and at home?
At tailgate, it's just any type of sausage that's grilled. Just grill me a tube of meat, put it in a bun, and hand it to me, and we're good. Or those
so it has to be sausage. It couldn't be a hot dog.
Right. Or those massive sandwich things that someone makes at home. They're just like, here's a huge hoagie or a massive piece of bread with meat in it. But I just love that. At home, it's probably just got to be like dips and whatever's easy to cook, because I don't want to be spending time cooking at home. I want to watch. What about you? What do you like to eat?
True. So I would say for me, my number one, you got to be mobile. That's a critical thing. When you're at the game, you got so much going on. You got to be mobile. Okay. And I think that a big old, I'm more of a hamburger guy than a sausage guy when it comes to football games. That tailgate piece. Don't get me wrong. I could throw down on a sausage, for sure. But big old hamburger with a nice crispy piece of lettuce, juicy tomato, some bacon, a little barbecue sauce on it, and a piece of cheddar cheese. That is what we call the good stuff.
That is the good stuff.
Oh yeah. That and a either rather tall beer or something a little juice plus, if you will. If you're catching what I'm saying, a little juice or a little Coke, whatnot. Plus, just something fun. Just something fun for the folks at home.
Right? Just something fun to just sort of make the day go. That's amazing.
Uh,
Any
so I
good
would say,
Thanksgiving football stories?
oh, dude, there was. So when I was playing at Wheaton, it was my junior year, and there was what? I'm gonna challenge that. We got a challenge. How
Oh,
do I
we need to
challenge?
challenge it.
How do I do this?
Just keep scrolling.
Keep scrolling. We got a challenge. I can't challenge the play. Baloney. Baloney. Hit continue here. So it was my junior year. We didn't make the playoffs, and I was home. And we get out there, and I was back home in Orlando from Wheaton, and I was just really feeling it. And I talked to my buddy, who actually works in the NFL. At the time, he didn't work in the NFL, but there was this Turkey Bowl game that goes on, and they were some 20-year-olds, but then some dad-aged folks there, and I was like, hey, I'd love to join. And I had that energy I had to get out. Played center, and it was just nice. I had the chance to participate, not just playing center. So I got the call. I literally woke up, got the call to come, was happier than a pig in slop, and I'm happier than J.J. Watt running this ball back to the end zone for a touchdown, Texans. And I proceed to play. I'll put it to you this way: I was the MVP of that game in all the bad ways. I was all over the field. I was playing D end. I was making it chippy out there. I mean, we could have had pads on, or we could have not had pads on. I wasn't too sure. I'm so excited. I'm not even going to hit the net here with this PAT. And let me put it this way: I was not called back next year for Turkey Bowl. So, but you know what? I don't regret it. It was a ton of fun. I think I retired a few of the dad-aged fellas from their Turkey Bowl playing, and yeah, it was a good time. So, what about you, Rutledge?
Is there game film of this game? Can we break down some game film together?
I wish. I had a great rip move while playing D-line. I was all over the place.
I just love to see some game film of just about to be excommunicated Connor.
Me trying to be an athlete.
Yep. Just what did that look like?
And it was, nothing against baseball players, but sometimes baseball players have great skills, but they don't. Sometimes I think they think they're a little too athletic than they really are.
Sure.
So especially like pitchers. Not to say they're not athletic, but I think football players are so used to only athleticism. So I brought, as I said, MVP in all the bad ways.
I'm sure you're tearing people up like you're tearing me up behind the line with Patrick Mahomes.
You just got to keep the heat coming. You got to cut the snake off at the head.
You just got to love what you do, and that's bringing the pain.
Yeah, man. Any Turkey Bowl stories for you?
I remember when I was a kid, it was Thanksgiving. My dad was working in Myrtle Beach at the time. Tyreek Hill with the grab.
Got that. Wow. Good for you. Good for Tyreek.
And he was working in Myrtle Beach at the time, and we had went up for Thanksgiving, and it was college football rivalry weekend. And my dad had said, hey, we're going to go as a family to this cool, sports bar place, and we're going to watch Carolina Clemson. I was like, I'm down, because that's always my favorite game to watch during the year. Watch Carolina Clemson, and there was an interim coach who was the offensive coordinator because the actual coach had been fired. And his name was Dabo Swinney. And I sat there, and they had won some games, made some noise, and I watched. I'm like, well, I don't think this guy's a big deal. I don't think anything's going to happen. And Carolina played awful. I'm pretty sure Steven Garcia was our starting quarterback. I'm pretty sure he went out to a bar in Clemson the night before. I don't even know. And we were rough. And I remember watching it, and I was like...
Garcia was prone to go to bars and places.
He really was. And I watched it, and I just remember sitting there, and I was like, this feels like this is going to be bad. And they announced that afternoon that they hired him. And Clemson's been winning natties and putting out college and putting out NFL prospects and doing everything ever since.
But you
So
had a
that's
good
mine.
time with your dad.
It was a good time. I had a really good time. Top 5 favorite rivalry weekend for college football. Except for the Dabo Sweeney part.
True that.
All right,
Well,
so
dude,
that's...
just getting off the rails, man.
Oh, I know. We're getting... This is supposed to be a sports thing. We're supposed to talk about sports. We're just reminiscing now.
I know. Let's talk about basketball.
Okay, that's
We
a
got
sport.
some of that going on.
It'll
So,
be...
did you catch the Celtics Raptors game last night?
It was to double overtime. It's going to be big. It's going to be really big. Oh, there we go. Bring the team over.
Because that touchdown.
I think they've got some really good stuff going on. I think it's going to be huge. It was the talk everywhere this morning on every other sports show. What did you think of the game with going to game, now that they're in game 7?
You know, I was doing some prep, as I only will do prep, for the show. That's the only time I'll listen to sports talk shows. Just kidding, for those out there in TV land. No, I think that is awesome that it goes to Game 7. Tons of drama. Patty Mahomes with the score. Ronan is now excited. Ronan must be an NBA fan. Ronan has gotten out of his bed and is now asking me to play with his bone with him. But no, I think that what's interesting about this series and about the Raptors in general is that the Raptors have been left for dead so many times, really since Kawhi left. And I think that the Raptors are going to go into Game 7 more free, playing more free. The Raptors are going to go, they got nothing to lose. Who thought that they were going to make it this far? I know it's like they played well. Oh, it's a good story, but they'll go head to head against the Bucks and get beat. Or everyone was saying how bad they were and how they weren't going to make it, and all the Raptors did was say, "Oh, check this out. We're gonna just do our thing." So I think that I'm gonna take the Raptors. Take the Raptors in Game 7. I think the Celtics are gonna be tight. They don't have Gordon Hayward, Kemba Walker, although seemingly a good person, nice guy. He has a tendency to not show up. I could see him not showing up in this big game. And the Raptors again going to the Eastern Conference Finals. So what about you, Rutledge? What do you think?
I also am taking the Raptors. I'm with you. I think people have been sleeping on them. I think Nick Nurse, first of all, I'd like to just thank Nick Nurse for bringing the first non-hockey-based championship to the nation of Canada. We appreciate you and everything that you've done. I think Nick Nurse is done an amazing job. If you want to take a look at the adjustments that the coaching staff has done from Game 5, Toronto was shooting under 40% from the field, and Boston was really forcing them to shoot the 3. Toronto made adjustments and cleaned that up, and their field shooting percentage was way higher, which got them through Game 6. I'm with you. I think Boston. I don't know. Not that I'm not anti the Celtics and Brad Stevens. I think he does a good job. I also like that this series is about 2 systems and coaches and good basketball players, but not superstars. This is not going to be what we get in the West, which of course is going to be like, Kyle Lowry and LeBron James, and like that, of course, is going to be different. This is very much about not Kyle Lowry, but Kyle Lowry's on the Raptors. Whoops. But this is going to Kawhi Leonard. Thank you. Excuse me. But this is going to be a very much different approach. I picked the Raptors, though. I think if they get their field goal shooting taken out, or their shots from the field, they're going to absolutely be a mess for the Celtics. The spread on it is only at 2 points, so that's a either man's game, and there's only a 62% confidence in America right now about what do we think they're going to do, but Raptors average 111 points per game, and I think that's enough to make it done.
All right, so we both got the Raptors, and I think we both kind of answered why.
Yeah.
The analytics.
But whoever that is, they're going to be in trouble because of There's going to be a really rested Jimmy Butler just waiting for you. He's just sitting in Coronado Springs, just waiting.
Springs. Jimmy Butler at the Springs, though. How do you, yeah, amen. So how hot are the Heat? Tell me your thoughts on the Heat.
The Heat are there.
Not heat like the Florida summer heat, but the heat is in the Miami Heat. The circa Miami that play at the American Airlines Center.
Shout out to Pat Riley for this 1-year roster rebuild that he did to take this team that had less than 40 wins last year, cut, shuffle, move, get Jimmy Butler, do all this stuff, put all this package together. And then they were okay, then they went into bubble, then they came back out, and they've been just taking people apart ever since. They shut down the Pacers in 4 games. And you can't say it's just because Giannis got hurt, because Jimmy Butler put 43 points up with Giannis on the floor. They did all the big things. They made all the right moves. And I think that I think they can go to the finals. I think they're just super hot right now. I think the rest they're going to get, they're just going to go sit in the pool and work on their tans while they watch Game 7. And I think it's about to be going down. What do you think?
Yeah, the Heat are so hot right now. It was easy to say Eric Spoelstra couldn't coach when LeBron James left. But now, I mean, we see that Eric Spoelstra is actually pretty dang good. And, didn't get in the end zone. Good night. As I mentioned before, it's very important to have good ownership, a good front office. And, Pat Riley, not just this past year, but, he never punted. He never kind of lost his mind after LeBron left. Pat Riley, stayed the course. He was not as good for a little bit, kind of let the dynasty fall out. But Miami's just a place that free agents want to go to.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of it too, right? It's not like Milwaukee. Milwaukee. As much, although Rutledge, you and I live in Central Florida, a 24-year-old with $30 million burning in his pocket isn't exactly thinking, man, I want to get an annual pass at Disney World.
Nope.
Miami's a good place to be. So I think the Heat are really hot now. They're going to run into another really hot team who's been there before, and we can talk about that next week. But, man, hats off to the Heat for making the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah. Shout out to them. It's huge. And I know that the Heat fan base is excited. I have a friend of mine who's a Heat fan, and I'll just always shoot him a text, be like, hey, how's it going? And every text message he sent since the start of the Buck series has just nice kick. Was that intentional?
I had a little lag.
Oh, okay. That's okay. That's why we're live.
That's why they call it live.
Anyways, so as that goes, it's just all caps text messages. So super excited for the Heat. Big moves for them. So what other basketball thing do you want to talk about, Connor? Who else are you watching?
Oh, this slow tight end is making my Houston Texans defenders' ankles feel like Giannis's ankles. But let's move from analytics to mananalytics, to quote good old Uncle Colin Cowherd here. LeBron James, the Lakers in the West. Tell me your thoughts on LeBron right now. Do you think LeBron can win the title this year? And do you think that if LeBron doesn't win the title this year, that the window is closed? I mean, just what are your thoughts on that?
I think LeBron, like you said, you don't count out against Bill Belichick. You don't count out against Nick Saban. You don't count out against LeBron James. And LeBron James has what LeBron James always needs, and that's talent around him. I think basketball as a sport is too much built off of, we act like basketball should be this one-person show. But even in The Last Dance, Michael Jordan had Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman and Steve Kerr, and those aren't losers. I think Anthony Davis and Rajon Rondo provide really good stuff. I think especially since they took Houston to some small ball, where Houston and squad and James Harden were like, all right, we're going to make you shoot the ball and make you do stuff and not just run the post. And LA went, okay, and beat them at it. I think that is a pretty much indicator that this squad is huge. LeBron James and Lonzo Ball weren't meant to be together, which is why it didn't work. As soon as some people are gone, you see it's happening. What is your take on LeBron?
True that. My take on, I mean, look, LeBron, he spends $1 million a year on his body, right? He is the anti-Carmelo Anthony. Not to throw Carmelo Anthony under the bus, but he is the anti-Carmelo Anthony. He understands how important his body is. He takes care of it. Does a good job there. And that left guard missed that linebacker big time. It's really easy, even in video games, to make tackles when you're not touched. So, for our listener out there, just be aware of that. I would say that. Hit my play here. Ooh, I like it. Oh, this play's money. I would say, the thing about LeBron and the Lakers in general, right, is A, they're not doing all the travel piece, so LeBron could be even more well rested. B, as odd as it sounds, LeBron has had a lot of rest over these past couple years, right? Between his injury and between just the hiatus, LeBron has definitely been able to get rested up, and he's actually kind of rested here in the playoffs. So I could definitely see that situation where the Lakers take it to the Clippers, and really, I mean, tell me your thoughts, Rutledge, but really, whoever wins the West is heavy favorites there in the NBA Finals.
Oh, absolutely, because they'll either have to face off against the Raptors or the Heat, and both of the teams in the West, the Clippers and the Lakers, they're just too big of monster beasts for anyone that's not ready to just play that type of small ball or any of that type of basketball at all. There are too many different dimensions all at once. Oh,
wow, that went right to the wrong player. This just got a little more interesting.
This just sparked up Ronan a lot. I bet he's watching now.
Oh yeah. So okay, I feel ya. Let's see here. Oh.
I think the sports show just ended.
I had a funny quote from the guy who was my offensive coordinator when I played at Wheaton College. Not really a funny quote, but it just goes to talk about the importance of good players. He would say, my best plays always tend to work with my best players. Just like Patrick Mahomes running it in there to the end zone.
And just making it happen.
So I know that dead air is not good for.
No. So as we get ready to go with this is a pretty big moment for.
What's going through Patrick Mahomes' brain right now? Game on the line.
I hope Rutledge pushes the right button, and he does.
And he does.
Oh wow, we're tied up here. This is gonna be some serious, great, possibly vamping content we're going to come up with on the fly. I'm excited. This is a first for Friends Stream Sports, Connor, because not only do we plan what we say with our episodes with care because we share, but we plan for a winner. We never plan to tie because you win or lose. If you're not first, you're last, said Ricky Bobby's father.
There you go. All right.
So, as we're going into getting ready in the last things to fill the dead air and ease the tension as we approach the fourth quarter to see what's going to happen. Connor, what's the most adult thing that you've done this week since we're in our 30-somethings? Even though we stream video games, we have to be adults.
Oh, just got sacked. I got my oil changed on Tuesday, and the place that I went to was recommending all of these crazy things to do with my oil. And I just said, you know what? I think you're kind of full of garbage. So I literally got a second opinion on my car. Because I didn't want to pay all that money.
There you go. Got a second opinion.
I did. I got that second opinion, and I was right. They were full of garbage. Let's see. Another really adulty thing that I did this week was I had I've had vegetables like all week. My vegetable intake. One of my goals this year has been to make this be the best year on record for vegetable consumption, and that was almost really bad.
That was almost a lot bad. I mean, for you.
Well, really good for you. A lot bad for me. So we had. So we've just had some good eats here at the Bourne household. Some good healthy eats.
There you go.
What about you? What about you? Well, let's see how this play goes out here.
That's just a classic Madden Hail Mary play. No one catches it, just bounces around for a minute. Let's go OT. I think my big adult thing that I did this week is my wife and I had a moment where we were like, hey, you know what? I found this new wine at the store. Let's give it a try and kind of talk about what it tastes like. You know, a very good wine adult thing to talk about. Sampling, conversation. So we did that. I will couple that along with, to keep myself grounded of who I am, it was wine out of a can.
Ooh.
Yeah. Did you know it was called like Yosemite Trail? It's like $3 a can.
Okay.
Did you know a can of wine, like a Coke can size of wine, is actually half a bottle?
You know, I did know that.
So that made for a good day, just to say that I sampled that and then did that math and had that experience. I've never in my younger years was one to take care of fitness, so I've been really putting in time in the gym and really doing work and been watching what I eat for lunch. So been making some moves in that direction.
Could it be said that the adultness of wine tasting was counterbalanced with the fact that it came from the can?
Yes. Like, the fact that it was out of the can just kind of evens it out for me to be like, all right, I'm still kind of cool. Not too adulting. You know, I think, kind of like in your opinion, you did the telling the car guy no. The adult thing was getting the second opinion. The not,
Are you serious?
Finally a fumble that is not out of bounds.
Now, if you score any points, you win.
Right, because the first possession has to be. That's a lot of pressure there, Connor.
I'm just saying.
Okay, so while we're here, I think we should take some time, since we have extra time and we're not rushed in the pod stats menu, let's discuss our picks for the week.
Oh, true that. I like that.
That could be good while we sit here and play this non-threatening friending overtime. One of our picks is not going to be Wake Forest Clemson because I'm glad college football's back, but we don't need to make that decision on who we really think is going to win that. Oh, God. Froze up under pressure making fun of Clemson. That's what I get. That's what I get.
Can't do that.
Nope. So our first pick for the week is Bucks Saints, Connor.
Who do you got?
I have my big trust, and I trust in the Saints. And I really think this will be, I think this is, of course, big game, big moment. I think it's just going to, especially with the COVID world and the team not getting, I mean, they've been practicing and doing some stuff, but not as much live as they need. I think you're really going to, oh no. I think it's just going to show that Drew Brees and company are really cohesive. Tom Brady and Bucks company are not. And I think that's where you're going to see that. And I'm taking the plus on the points.
So Saints by over 3.5 points.
Yep. Saints by 4.
Ooh, all right, cool. I think that I'm going to take the Saints on this one. I think the Saints are going to cover. You know, it's not that I don't think that the Bucks yet again are good, and you know, man, don't outthink the room, man. The Bucks have a lot of good players, but it's just early on, and Tom Brady's going to have to get used to some players with some live bullets flying, and I think that the Saints are gonna win and cover. So it should be a definite tough one there. It should be a definite win for the Saints. I'm in on that as well. So
okay.
Our next game is Tennessee versus the Broncos. Broncos are 1.5-point underdogs.
Broncos 1.5-point underdogs. Well, I see that, and the Broncos will not be that upset. I see Tennessee running away with this one. I think Denver is still figuring it out. I think they're making it. Oh, this is about to be bad. We're about to have our first overtime win. I think Tennessee's going to bring it. I think even just the presence of Jadeveon Clowney alone, as long as he gets slotted up on that line, and Derrick Henry on the other side. Denver is in for a rough year. I really think this is going to be where we go from bad to worse, and we get miles off the rails. So I have Tennessee, and I have them taking the points.
Fair enough. I like that. Yeah, I would say I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it kind of lame here. I'm right there with you. I think Tennessee is a good, solid team. Von Miller had his issue with the injury. He might be out for the whole season, and Denver's just kind of getting more and more question marks. I don't necessarily believe in Drew Lock. I don't see it. I don't see Denver having a good year. Deshaun Watson ran into the running back.
I saw that. He almost butt fumbled.
When I played at Wheaton College, there was our offensive line coach who was like 100. He would always talk about the play where the guys ran into each other. And he wanted a play where both guards pulled into each other. Obviously, when Wheaton College was up by like 100. But the one time it happened, and I missed that field goal, you've got to be kidding me. The game continues.
The game continues.
I don't know what's worse, our takes or our ability to play Madden 20. Kick in Madden 20.
Well, as we said before when we started this, if you're here to watch good Madden, you're watching the wrong stream. This is mediocre Madden at its finest.
Eminem, mediocre Madden.
This is mediocre Madden where it's just, someone's going to win this game. Well, I don't know. There's 2 minutes left. Could tie. What a way to start the 2020 season. We start with a tie.
Then when we tie, are we going to switch the film of a shirtless brawl? Where we must run to each other and then shirtlessly brawl?
To the death or to the COVID?
Yes.
Oh, that didn't work.
To the
COVID. The loser of the brawl has to just start licking other people's masks.
And then finding grandmas and coughing in their face.
Oh, that's just mean.
I'm just saying. I mean, this is intense.
This is really
Not
intense.
But so third down and 10. Third down for what?
Oh, do we get it? Do we get it? Do we get it?
Nope. We got fourth down here.
We got fourth down.
Call, coach. I'd go for it.
I mean, we'll see what happens.
If our viewer is sticking with us here after an hour, good for you.
Right? That's the beauty of it all.
Oh, you got it. You've got to be kidding me.
We got that.
The thing about, and this is so true in real life, you're so concerned with Patrick Mahomes' arm that you just forget about his legs. You don't forget about his legs, but it's like you do so much to stop Patrick Mahomes' arm.
Yeah, I think I was a little bit of a naysayer on Patrick Mahomes for a while, to be honest. Like, I've come back around. First I was like, oh, they're like, oh, backyard football, running around. I said, okay, here's just another scrambling quarterback who came out of the Big 12. And then all of a sudden, it just sort of all clicked. And I don't know if it was the first time I watched him throw a shovel pass or the first time I watched him just do anything. We're going to... But it just sort of... Yeah, a little no looker. It's just the casualness that he plays the game that makes me really respect him. And also the video I watched of how he built a shoe closet. Because I don't know if you've seen the video of his shoe closet, but his shoe closet that he built in his house for all of his sneakers is pretty sweet. Like, it's impressive. And it's just, it's your classic sneakers. You got your Yeezys, your Jordans, right? He's got some Chiefs colored stuff. He's got some Texas Tech colored stuff. It's that type of stuff.
How cold do you feel right now, Rutledge?
For Florida, this is refreshing.
This is refreshingly cold. And
Boom,
you nailed that.
there
Are you
it
kidding?
is.
Oh,
Whew.
you came back big time.
Oh,
Bill
man.
O'Brien.
Bill O'Brien is going to go trade his kids away now because he lost. Look at Patrick Mahomes talking smack to the camera.
Well,
Look at that.
you are undefeated in Madden, undefeated in your heart.
Yep, I know that going forward, we're going to be locked into we're going to be laying on the couch, watching a lot of football, eating a lot of snacks. Just pretty much pour me some salt. That's all I want.
Beautiful. All right, well, dude, good to hang, good to chat with you this week.
Good to
This is a pretty
stream,
uncommon hangout.
right? It's uncommon hangouts for the common friends. It's Friends Stream Sports.
All right, my man. Well, I will catch you later.
All right, later, Connor.